This is Killer Kyle. This is Killer Kyle, and welcome to another episode of Wheels of Fury 102. And thought we'd do something a little different. We had no idea what to do, and we did a Facebook chat on our Wheels of Fury Facebook page, and for some reason, I'm not sure if I did anything wrong, but for some reason it just didn't really go through, I guess. Not quite sure about that, but
like the video itself is up.
Oh yeah.
The poll that Matt put on there, not able to find the results for it, so don't know what people would have wanted to see. But anyways,
well, yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, that's what happens, you know. I could check it again. Did I not say in the video that if we don't do what they suggested this time, I'll do it next time? Or what?
Well, not exactly, but it's a good idea to mention anyways, yeah. Whatever
I'll keep going.
you guys selected in the poll, we will try our best to see if we can find the results of that, and maybe next week do a video on that. I'm sure probably a majority of people would have selected something wrestling related, but
anyways, yeah, so there's no results. Maybe I messed up somehow. I fucking don't know, but anyways, today's episode we're gonna do something a little different. We always talk about WWE, and well, we always seem to do WWE related stuff.
yeah,
We may have done another promotion review at one point, but anyways, so I thought about doing a Ring of Honor pay-per-view.
right.
And I thought I started watching the real thing, because back in the day, well, a few years ago, be like watching the best of Ring of Honor. So
Yes.
not quite sure where the newer shit was, and then accidentally one night on Fox, I'm just skimming through the guide, and oh, hey, look.
Here's Ring of Honor.
There's Ring of Honor at 1 o'clock in the goddamn morning.
Yeah. Well, it just seems to be that the best of Ring of Honor they would show on the Fight Network.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know when they stopped doing that, but they stopped doing that. And you didn't really know if Ring of Honor was still going, what channel it would be on, what time it would be on. And like Matt said, just flipping through the channels one night, got on Fox, and hey, there's Ring of Honor, 1 a.m., but I mean, yeah, Ring of Honor is still going, and they're in there. They started in, I believe, 2002.
Yeah.
Which is the same year that
TNA
started. And coincidentally enough, I believe TNA's first show that they did would have been at the TNA, well, the Asylum they called it, in Tennessee. But I believe Ring of Honor's first show was in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
At the 2300 Arena, or fans might recognize better as the ECW Arena.
Now, what's cool about Ring of Honor is when I first saw it on Fox, it was a mix between old school WWF and ECW, obviously. The picture was very gritty and very much like a camcorder. Yeah, I know, like how ECW used to be produced, but very much their backstage segments were old school WWE. And so...
Oh yeah, like Colt Cabana had a little thing he did. It was kind of like his own version of a talk show. It was called Good Times, Great Memories. It was basically him sitting at a table in a locker room, I think, just talking to a camera.
Yeah. But a lot of these guys now, as we probably mentioned in the past, are in WWE, or NXT, or even TNA.
Right.
In fact, there's a team that did actually try out in NXT, but made the better choice to go to TNA, but we'll get to that.
And, I mean, you watch Ring of Honor now, you'll still see some of the same guys on Ring of Honor now that you would see in the early days. Like, they still got Jan Mark Briscoe. You still got Todd St. Clair, the referee. Of course, he's gained a considerable amount of weight, and looks different than he did back then. You still got Bobby Cruz. Jay Lethal is there, but of course he was in Ring of Honor in the early days, and then he went to TNA for a little while, and then he went back to Ring of Honor. I'm trying to think of who else.
This makes me laugh how young he is.
Oh, frig, yeah.
Like when you look at what he did in TNA with the whole Black Machismo thing.
Yes.
He did Black Machismo in another promotion with AJ Lee. Of course, them being both from New Jersey.
Right.
So, you know, it's very cool to see how far a lot of these wrestlers have gotten.
Yes.
So, yeah, so without that.
Yeah.
The first match we have BJ Whitner, who defeated Mike Bennett, of course.
I suppose, before we really get too far into this, we're going to be talking about Best in the World from 2013.
Oh, yeah, right. Shit.
Foul!
Yeah, it says Best in the World 2013. Of course, because I mentioned in the top of this video, I started watching Ring of Honor Present Day around Christmas 2012, I think. Unless it was this one, but I can't remember. I do remember a lot of this stuff, though.
Yes.
Now, whether or not this was the Kingdom with Matt Taven and Adam Cole.
No, this was before that.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, because of Truth Martini. Okay. Yeah, that is true. No, I don't remember too much about Bob Evans.
Yeah, he only lasted a few years. He basically was managing a lot of the younger talent, and he had, I think, a few matches, but never really went too far with any particular individual, and his Ring of Honor tenure didn't seem to last very long either. Now, of course, BJ Whitmer, is still with Ring of Honor right now. He does commentary from time to time.
Yep.
And of course, Mike Bennett and Maria, like we talked about when we did the live video, is now on 205 Live.
Right.
And yeah, Bob Evans is
Well,
MIA,
well, when you look at Mike Bennett and how far he's gotten with going over to Impact,
yes,
and you know that stupid storyline that he did, well, him and Maria, and then of course the whole thing with them going to NXT. Well, I mean Maria going back to WWE, but like
right,
the whole thing with Mike going to NXT, and then of course SmackDown. So it's really cool to see that. Like, it's really cool to see how far that these guys can graduate to the big leagues,
oh yeah,
so to speak. BJ Whitmer, I'm not quite sure if he's ever been in the WWE. I'm not.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I thought I recognized his name at one point, but
Right,
anyways, so BJ won the match.
yes,
And that's funny to say, but yeah, they did a weird thing with Kevin Sullivan
yes,
a couple years ago, and then
Yeah,
of course
yeah.
Steve Corino joined. Of course, it was fucked up. It was interesting, but really fucked up.
yeah,
And so we go on to the American Wolves, Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards, who defeated the Adrenaline Rush.
yeah. Adrenaline Rush, ACH, and Tadarius Thomas.
And what's interesting about this is that Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards teamed up in Japan.
Right,
Then Davey Edwards did a singles run in Ring of Honor, and
Mhm.
then Eddie Edwards came back, and they eventually, well, they won the tag titles,
yes,
and then they eventually went to NXT, had one match as American Pitbulls. Fuck you, Vince.
they went to TNA, and then they had the thing where Davey got injured and Eddie became world champion, and then they had Davey come back and feud with Eddie in a series of actually pretty good matches, and the whole betrayal, not only with Davey and Eddie, but like Angelina and Eddie's wife Aaliyah, and now they've got Eddie doing this whole deranged, psychotic,
It doesn't make sense for me.
lunatic, madman character, if you will. And I mean, okay, he did the American Wolves thing for a while, and then he was at the whole thing of anything is possible and become world champion and all this other stuff. And like, I can understand him wanting to maybe evolve his a character altogether or let it whatever. This is Eddie Edwards circa Mick Foley.
Yeah.
They either didn't like what WWE was doing with them, or WWE just didn't think they were very good. Whatever the case was, yeah, they only had like one match in NXT and then left.
Well, it's like there was already a tag team called the American Pitbulls. So what the fuck was Vince thinking? I don't understand. It was either Vince or Paul, I don't know, but as soon as I saw them coming out, it kind of pissed me off. Because I knew who they were. and everyone else knew who they were. So, I mean, it's kind of like taking the War Machine and calling them War Raiders. They're still the War Machine, but a different name.
Right.
But I digress. I mean, this was a good match as well. American Wolves won.
Yes.
So, we'll go on to an interesting match.
Yeah.
Adam Cole, baby, who defeated Roderick Strong by countout.
Yes.
And wouldn't it be surprising that
Several years later, both Adam Cole and Roderick Strong was in NXT first.
yes,
And then Adam Cole came along with a tag team that we'll talk about here in a little bit and formed Undisputed Era.
yeah, it's cool how things happen, and it's like I said, you know, if they go to the main roster, I can't think of what they're gonna do with those individuals. Like it's kind of dumb how. I mean, they took Kenta Kobashi and they turned him into Hideo Itami. So, it's kind of like, and then of course you get Nakamura, who's now the rock star,
Yeah.
and so on and so forth. So,
Yeah.
as soon as those guys go to the main roster, I hope that they don't get screwed up and made different names or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is kind of when Adam Cole was slowly starting to turn heel,
Yeah.
unless it was already there. Well, no,
I don't think he was there quite yet.
because he turned heel on Elgin. I remember that for the championship. Anyways, Adam won this match,
Yes.
and eventually would turn heel and join Matt Taven, Maria, and Mike in the first installment of the Kingdom.
Yes. Michael Elgin, who defeated Tommaso Ciampa.
Oh yeah. Yes, the Sicilian Psychopath versus Big Mike, Michael Logan, or the Unbreakable Michael Logan. I think, and again, it's one of those things where they take a Canadian wrestler and they go, oh, you're from Calgary, or you're from Toronto, or you're from Niagara Falls. But in fact, Michael Logan is from Oshawa, but whatever,
Yeah.
Mike, he was in the House of Truth for a while,
Yes.
and then turned face. So this match was pretty cool. And you look at Tommaso Ciampa, I mean, he's still the same guy, technically, now in NXT. Than he, obviously different back then with the Mohawk.
Yeah.
But still the same character. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Michael Elgin, if he stays in Japan, or not quite sure what they're going to do with him.
Yeah. I mean, Michael Elgin had a fairly good run in Ring of Honor. I believe he did at one point end up as Ring of Honor World Champion. And then he left to go to Japan, I guess.
Yeah.
And Tommaso Ciampa was running roughshod over Ring of Honor. He held the Ring of Honor Television Championship. And I think he might have also ended up with the Ring of Honor World title.
Yeah.
Leaves Ring of Honor, goes to NXT, partners with Johnny Wrestling.
Yes,
and
yes, yeah.
DIY. They're on a pretty good run. End up as NXT Tag Team Champions. Eventually end up losing the championships to... I can't remember. Anyways. They, DIY splits. They're feuding back and forth, and now you've got Tommaso as your NXT champion.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, and they really didn't do a lot with his character. Like, Again, kind of like a Dolph Ziggler in a way, coming out with no theme music, but
Well, that lasted, a few weeks, but now he does have.
and he's talking, so like,
Well, yeah.
that's cool. And we'll see where it goes. I mean, the guy's my age and he looks like he's 50, but
Yeah.
I mean, they gave him the NXT title. We'll see what happens to him in the future.
I mean, the whole, he's done fairly well as NXT champion. The whole thing where he's pretending the belt is like a person and he's talking to it is kind of
You think you want else now?
out there.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, you're trying to make a WWE version of the Sicilian psychopath, which I get. It just seems weird to have a person talk to an inanimate object, but then again, that's not WWE. This isn't the first time WWE has done something wild and crazy like that.
In a way, yeah. Like, what do you mean?
Well, like you said, Al Snow with
Oh,
head
yeah. Perry Saturn
and with a
and
mop and,
well, that's his own fucking fault.
well, yeah, still.
Don't beat up a guy and, like, injure the bastard. So,
Basically, if you intend on seriously injuring somebody in a match, WWE will fuck you over with a shitty gimmick.
pretty much. So, then we go on to Matt Taven with Truth Martini, the Punani Predator, and defeated us.
For Jimmy Jacobs and Jay Lethal. Looks like it was
It was a three-way match
three-way match,
for
yeah.
the Ring of Honor
Television.
Television Championship.
I was going to say, it looked like it was a 2-on-1 match, but it was a three-way.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Nah, I think this was cool. And like I mentioned before, the House of Truth was an interesting tag team. In fact, when I first saw Ring of Honor, kind of laughed my ass off at Truth Martini with the big guy, or the guy with the big 80s metal hair and the top hat and the big glasses and smoking an e-cigarette and whatever. And then you have him with Jay Lethal and Matt Taven and Michael Elgin at one point.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened to him.
Martini? Yeah. Well, he took a power bomb from Elgin, I think. Ended up injured,
Yes.
and I don't remember if he needed surgery. I think he did. And they storyline that whole thing, and at the end of it, they show Martini leaving the hospital. He's walking, and it seems like, oh, cool, Truth Martini's gonna come back, and he's gonna, maybe form a different version of the House of Truth or something, and it evaporated.
Pretty much. I mean, that Michael Elgin was the first to leave, and then, yeah, it evaporated after that. Yeah, it was annoying anyways.
And I haven't heard or seen anything of the man since.
Yeah.
And of course, Matt Taven created a different version of
The
the
Kingdom.
Kingdom. Jimmy Jacobs is,
TNA or Impact with Congo Kong.
yes, Jay Lethal is with the company again.
Yeah, and I don't even know if he can, if he ever wanted to, go back to TNA or have a WWE run, because
Right.
he's young enough and he's still in phenomenal shape,
Oh, yeah.
but it's crazy. And
Yeah.
I say,
Next, we got a three-way tag team match for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. It's Red Dragon, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, for CNC Russell Factory, Caprice Coleman and Cedric Alexander, and Scum,
that's what they.
Cliff Compton and Rhett Titus.
Yeah, Scum was an interesting stable.
Yes.
You know, you had Kevin Steen, who was kicked out of Scum,
Right.
and it's just an interesting way on how that turned out. Because Matt Hardy, who I believe is still having substance abuse issues, maybe.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, he came to Ring of Honor, and he had the whole thing with Scum, and then eventually Kevin Steen was kicked out, and then there's a match for that later. But again, you know, Red Dragon coming over to NXT, and yes, they're still Red Dragon to me, damn it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I mean, these guys wrestle in Ring of Honor, Japan, wherever else. You had, you know, Kyle O'Reilly wrestle in Canada,
Yes.
and obviously, but you know, just one of the best tag teams today, and not at all being mocked by WWE so far. Well, yeah, it's kind of funny how they can get wrestlers to do certain things. Yeah, Kyle O'Reilly doing the air guitar thing,
Yeah.
the belt,
Yeah.
and then yeah,
You know, the interesting thing about this match is, okay, you got Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly with Adam Cole and Roderick Strong, who we mentioned earlier, had a count out. Adam Cole got a count out victory over Roderick Strong. They're Undisputed Era.
yes,
You've got Caprice Coleman, who does periodically, time to time, commentary for Ring of Honor right now.
Chip.
You got Cedric Alexander, who's currently on 205.
Yeah,
You've got Rhett Titus, who's currently tag teaming with Will Ferrara.
the dogs.
I'm the big dog, he's Little Willie. And then Cliff Compton, who was formerly Domino and Deuce and Domino on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, he came to Ring of Honor, did this thing with Scum. That only lasted so long, and then, yeah, Cliff hit the bricks, basically.
Yeah.
Haven't seen anything of him or heard anything about him since.
Yeah, it's really cool to look back and, you know, when we do the WWE pay-per-views or This Week in Wrestling, talk
Yes.
about the past. And, you know, these guys definitely had a great run in Ring of Honor.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of cool just to see how far they've gotten. I mean, with the exception of Caprice Coleman, I mean, those three individuals are doing great in WWE.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well, I mean, fucking Cedric Alexander losing the Cruiserweight Championship, and now apparently he's on a losing streak.
Yeah.
So, then we have this match. Speaking of Scum, we got Matt Hardy, who took on
The aforementioned Kevin Steen.
Kevin Steen, and this was a no disqualification match. I gotta get my fucking eyes checked.
No disqualification match to determine a number one contender for the Ring of Honor World Championship.
Yeah. This was cool. I mean, these two had some other good matches, and this was no exception. Now, Steve Corino, who was on commentary with Nigel McGuinness, decided to join Kevin Steen, and I guess they've had a really good friendship. In fact, that was Kevin Steen's last Ring of Honor match
Yes.
with him and Steve Corino. But to see Matt Hardy come into Ring of Honor, it was really cool, you know, just to see him in a different promotion besides TNA and just to see what he can do. But again, I think this was kind of when he was still in his drug problems. But who knows? And this was a pretty good match.
Oh, yeah.
This was the only one of the two matches I could find on YouTube, and unfortunately I don't have the DVD.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Too bad you couldn't see highlights of the whole show, but I mean.
Well, yeah. I wanted to do something different.
Oh, I know.
It kind of, well, I don't know if it actually backfired, but anyways. This was a good match, obviously.
There wasn't really too much use of, like, weapons.
No,
There was
but,
a table set up and a garbage can. That was it.
yeah. I mean, you had Matt Hardy do the twist of fate on the ladder. It was-
Oh yeah, and the ladder.
So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so, yeah,
Finally is a battle of the Briscoes
yes.
for the Ring of Honor World Title. No, I don't mean Jack and Jerry, I mean Jay and Mark.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that. The first time I heard of the Briscoe brothers, I thought they were related to Jack and Jerry, or Jack or Jerry,
Yeah.
but nope. Just Wes.
Apparently,
But, yeah, I mean, they broke up for a while, and I remember they did, well, this was like a few months prior, maybe. No, I can't remember what fucking year it was. But yeah, these two had a really interesting feud, you know. Can't remember which one was a heel or a face. I think Jay, of course, was the heel, but
probably, yeah.
yeah, this was pretty cool just to see that the whole thing where Jay was the control freak and Mark wanted to bring him back to reality, I guess. I can't remember that far, but yeah, so Jay won the match and retained the Ring of Honor title, and I'm not quite sure what happened after that. I can't remember, but
Yeah.
I mean, this show definitely was one of the best in the fact that, well, the unfortunate part was I never really watched all the Ring of Honor pay-per-views back then.
Yeah.
And A, it's hard to find them on the TV guide, and then B, it's like fucking I don't really have, well, I have one Ring of Honor DVD, but
Yes.
that's about it. And it's kind of difficult to find them on a computer sometimes. But, I mean, it's a really good way to look back at anyways. And like I said, 2013, I just started to really watch the show
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And then, of course, well, there it is. I think that this was awesome. And the fact that these individuals are elsewhere, then it's like, you know, it's still a good program, but at the same time, well, from the reviews that you may watch of us for this week in wrestling,
Yes.
sometimes we can't remember the fucking show.
Yeah. And like I said a little earlier, Jay and Mark, of course, are still with Ring of Honor.
Yeah,
They've been with the company since day one.
pretty much, yeah.
And they're right now the Ring of Honor Tag Champs for their 9th go-around.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny how that works. And, you know, you look at Cedric Alexander and you think, well, they're talking about him having the losing streak on 205. And it's like, well, it doesn't mean that he's going to go back to Ring of Honor. But,
No.
you know, it's kind of interesting to see where things are right now with the company,
Yeah.
with the Bullet Club and
Yeah.
everything else. And so, I mean, this was a pretty good pay-per-view. It was a pretty good episode,
Yeah.
you know. And I feel bad because we did the Facebook chat, and I had put the poll out. And, hey, you can have a BJ on the poll. And I asked, you know, what do you want to do for the 102 episode? And, you know, but I might have said also that if we don't get that done tonight. If we don't get it done now, then we'll do that episode that you requested. But anyways, I mean, this was a good show, and we gotta figure out what the fuck it do. I mean, next week is Evolution,
Right.
which I'm kind of looking forward to doing, but not looking forward to doing. I don't know why. It's just whatever. But fuck yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then there's November 2nd is gonna be the Saudi Arabia crown jewel, so
Yeah.
that actually looks like a really good card.
Yeah.
So I'll be looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And hopefully this snow will hold off till December, because there's still a lot of shit I want to do before that.
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, so I really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah.
And, I mean, for what it's worth and what we talked about anyways.
Yeah.
But someday we'll get our shit together.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt, and this is Killer Kyle, and we will talk to you next week.
Bye.
Peace out.